Hello, hello. I'm DJ Gallo with ESPN.com's Playbook. Today's topic is fantasy baseball. Spring is in the air. Baseball season's coming. Birds are chirping. The sun is shining. People are wearing, ridiculous white ties. So spring is here. Fantasy baseball draft time. I have 5 tips for you on how to help you win your fantasy baseball draft. You ready? Number 1. Don't draft any players you think might get busted for steroids. This is pretty important. We got a lot of names out there, a lot of rumors, guys who might be facing 50-game suspensions. If you draft a guy like that, he's going to miss the 30-year season. Your season's going to be ruined. That said, this is baseball we're talking about. Anybody can get busted at any time and probably will. So how do we decide who not to draft? If at that point, why even play fantasy baseball? It's probably not actually a very good tip. Let's just say I have 4 tips for you on fantasy baseball. So let's forget that one. Let's move on to number 2. Buy any players that you want. That's my second tip. That's how real baseball is done. That's how you're successful in real baseball. And why not bring that to fantasy baseball? Say you want Mike Trout, but you don't have the number 1 or number 2 overall pick. You go up to a friend in your league and say, hey, Kevin, here's $900 if you don't draft Mike Trout so I can take him. You might say, $900 is a lot of money. And I would say you obviously don't want to win. Number 3, don't draft any New York Yankees. Why do you not want to draft any New York Yankees? Because the New York Yankees are going to stink this year. It's fun to say. We're talking about spring. We're talking about, a lot of people do spring cleaning. Just saying those words is like spring cleaning for the soul. The New York Yankees are going to stink this year. Going back to what we talked about earlier, buying players, if you do that, try not to buy players who are extremely old and well past their prime. One more time, everybody together. The New York Yankees are going to stink this year. Good times. Spring is happy. My number 4 tip. Make the other members of your league question their baseball IQ. The way you do this is at the draft when you're sitting the statistics you're going to use for your league. Start throwing out a bunch of sabermetric terms. First you want to go with, hey, are we using WHIP this year? Are we using BABIP? And then you got to sell it and just start throwing out random terms. Are we using LIP or NIP? Well, what about TIP, guys? How have you not heard of SMIP? We're not using SMIP. Come on. At that point, they're going to start questioning their baseball intelligence, probably panic, and probably just start drafting Yankees. And at that point, you got them. And my last and final tip. This is the most important one. To be successful at fantasy baseball, you have to quit your job, you have to quit school, and cancel all summer vacations. If you play fantasy football, that's like a 2-day thing, 2 days per week. Sunday, you set your roster. Wednesday, you check out, fantasy waiver wire positions. Baseball, to place really above 7th or 8th place, it has to be your entire lifestyle. Everything you do has to be fantasy baseball. You wake up in the morning, you set your lineup. There might be an afternoon game. You got to check for starting pitchers, see how your closers are doing. Maybe a closer got hurt. Maybe a closer is available, or depth charts have changed. You got to check the minors, who's getting called up. This is every day from April through early October. It's exhausting. That said, a lot of fantasy leagues pay out like maybe $200-300. So it's totally worth not having a life in any way or having any relationships. Those are all my tips, all 5 tips. Hopefully, actually 4 tips. Hopefully that's been incredibly helpful for you. And I can take all credit for winning your league. Again, I'm DJ Gallo with ESPN.com's Playbook.